let's go really, really back to the basics of what's the framework that's going to allow us to separate fact from fiction and banish these, these myths that are hurting us and become much more proactive. All right. So many of you know that my background was as a computer programmer before I went to law school, and this was in the dark ages of computers with fun reel-to-reel tapes and things like that. But ultimately, the logic and the processes of thinking were very useful, and I'm going to, explain one of them today that I think will be very helpful for you, and that is the concept of the if-then. And really, a lot of computer programming, it sounds very fancy, but it boils down to a set of statements. If this happens, then do this. And that's really what you're telling, because you got to tell this dumb machine, and then the days when I did this, they were incredibly dumb, that if a certain condition happens, then do this. And with this simple statement of if-then combined in various ways with various commands and various triggers, you can get it to do all kinds of amazing things. You can make this really dumb machine seem really smart. And likewise, the interesting thing is every single business is nothing more than a collection of systems. And in effect, if this happens, then do that. All right, and you probably don't want to think of your practice that way. All right, because look, we're highly educated professionals, but literally everything you do to run your business today can be broken down into if-then statements. Now, there might be very complicated sets of if-then statements, especially when it comes down to some of your area of practice expertise, your domain expertise within the law. But ultimately, you just have a really big brain where you have learned this stuff, synthesized this stuff down into a decision tree that's in your brain. It's ultimately just if-thens. And at a very easy level, the operations of your business is a set of if-thens, right? If an invoice comes in, then do this, right? If a client asks this question, then who takes the call? Everything is a set of if-thens, okay? So now if we realize that our business is a set of if-thens that's a lot simpler than the practice area if-thens, actually, then we can group those if-thens into the various parts of your business. Okay. Now, why is that interesting? Now, why is it interesting to bunch your business into a bunch of if-thens, into these columns here? Because if we can identify the key if-thens, the key conditions that if this happens, then do this, and then put in place a process and people to handle them, then we are free. Okay. See what I've done here? I've identified the top if-thens, and I've put in place a process. What happens? I, as the business owner, have put in place the protocol for what happens if then, and now I know that it's a documented protocol. And now I just need a person or a machine to do that, right?